Hello, how are you? My goodness, I'm so excited to be talking to you today because it's March 2nd, 2024, which is the second day of March Madness 2024, and I want to help you do more Pilates in your life, which is why I created these flashcards. But a lot of times people don't really know how to use them other than to study with them, and there's actually a lot of different ways to use them, so we're going to get into how that goes. First, I am Lesley Logan, the co-founder of OnlinePilatesClasses.com, and I have been teaching Pilates since 2008. I created these flashcards because people were wanting me to create a manual. I had a really amazing journey with my teacher trainings. I had the amazing experience of training with people who study with Joseph Pilates themselves. And so I really have a unique way of how did Joseph Pilates create this work, but then also how do we actually make it approachable, right? So when I started these decks, I actually started with just the mat deck, and I'll get into what was all about that in a minute. But I really wanted the mat work to be something people could take with them anywhere. At the time, there weren't a lot of mat classes available to people, or if they were at terrible times. And also the cost of just going to a mat class all the time can be expensive. So I wanted people to have their own mat practice wherever they went. So I created that one first. We actually started it in 2020. And then it wasn't until 2021 that I was able to print it, just based on the COVID stuff that was going on. It took us a long time. We had to find new printers. It was really incredible how we were able to get that to work for us. And then a few months after that, we actually got the Reformer deck out. And the Reformer deck, this one was really amazing because I really wanted to make sure that people could understand the different ways you could transition to different exercises based on your level. Even though Joseph Pilates didn't have levels, I really wanted to make sure that people could understand how, like, maybe you transition to this one, or based on your level, might transition to another one. So I'll talk about how we went to those exercises when I open up this deck. And by the way, the air was not earthquake. That is my dog, Gaia. She's 14, and she is going to hit the camera many times, I'm sure. Then came the Cadillac deck. This is a beast of a deck. Like, if you look at my decks, like, the Cadillac deck is the mat and the Reformer deck, right? Like, it's so many cards. And it's because there's just so many exercises that the Cadillac can do. But I have a lot of people who are concerned, like, they have a tower. Can they even use this deck? And the answer is yes. And I will show you in a minute how we made sure that happened. But the answer is yes. Most of the, like, 90% of the deck can be used on a tower. And I did have a teacher who has a tower review the cards to make sure. And then our most recent deck is the chairs. And in the chairs deck, we have three types of equipment. We have the one-to chair. So 72% of the exercises in the chairs deck are one-to chair exercises. And if you have an exo chair or a split pedal chair or a combo chair, you can use this deck. We do explain how to use and how to think of the springs in here. There's also a high chair exercises, an armchair or baby chair exercises. And some people are like, oh, I don't have access to those. I don't want to. Here's the deal. Someday you might. You never know when a piece of equipment could happen upon you. And also for those of you who have small spaces, you'd be surprised like how integral an armchair can be. It's also not the most expensive thing. It's way cheaper than a Reformer. So these are the four decks we have right now. And today only, they are 10% off, which is why we're coming to you live today, because I don't want you to miss out on this amazing deal. We normally do not discount these decks. We are super, super excited to be able to offer them to you. I will tell you how much, like, this deck was over a year in the making. So many hours, so many phone calls. The biggest investment I've ever made in my life. And my husband and I worked really, really hard on this. It took us a year to get it out. And we have this person who prints them. It's a family-owned business that prints them here in the United States. And then we can ship them around the world. So yes, we can ship these around the world wherever you are. And today only it's 10% off. So that's going to definitely help out with those shipping costs. This deck, so a year in the making. The Reformer deck, we actually brought more people onto the crew. We definitely hit hundreds of hours for making this deck, which is, I mean, it's kind of crazy. I was like, oh my God, this is the most time I've ever spent on anything. And then came this beast, which took the longest. It was quite crazy. We stopped counting at over 400 human hours working on this deck because it's such a beast. It's such a beast of a deck. And so it's just really like one of our pride and joys that we've created for our people. But yes, so many hours, eight to 10 people on our team had to touch that deck. And then this one also took over 400 hours of human time to get made. So let's dive into what is in the deck. So again, 10% off today only, midnight Pacific time. this deal is gone. If you're watching this tomorrow, I used to still get them, but the deal is today. So also, the reason why we're doing this is that we were featured in Sports Illustrated magazine. Yes, we were. How cool is that? So they did a top 10 best travel exercise equipment you can bring with you, and our mat deck made that cut, which I'm just so proud of, because it's just like, I mean, it's something I wanted. Like I said at the beginning of this, I've always wanted people to have access to Pilates. It was really important to me. You need to go to onlinepilatesclasses.com to get these flashcards. So onlinepilatesclasses.com for 10% off today only. So when you get your deck, each deck has a how to use this deck, okay? And so it really does explain like what to be considering, how to use it, what are some different ways you can use it. And I'll tell you how some of the people who bought our decks, now we've sold thousands, how they use the deck, because it's actually really cool to see how creative they get. Then in the mat and reformer deck, there is a list of the exercises. So like a little cheat sheet of the exercises, because the mat and reformer does have an order, which makes it really nice for those of you who are learning the Pilates repertoire. You can start to memorize the order, which means there's transitions. And when you have transitions and you actually use them, it does make the Pilates practice more advanced, which is really, really cool. Now, when you're new, you don't have to worry about that, right? Because you're learning. Then when you get into one of the exercises, you'll see that there's a picture of the exercise, which also is like really fun because it helps you quiz yourself on like kind of which exercise it is, but also you can lay these out, right? You can lay out these cards to plan your workout, right? So you can lay them out and you can put them in a line on a sheet. What's really fun is that you can snap a picture if you want to take the cards with you, and then you have a photo of what your workout's going to be. If you are a teacher and you're class planning, you can put them all out, snap a picture. So if I write them down all the time and like look at your notes and just look at a picture. You can also put them at a station in your studio. These are the cards, these are the exercises being done at that station, which makes it really, really fun. So when you get the deck and you look at the exercise, so this is spine twist on the mat, right? So we have exercise and then this fancy little QR code right here. And this QR code, you guys, it's going to take you to the video, because I know we all learn differently. So I really want to make sure that these decks aren't just study material, but also a way for you to really incorporate more Pilates into your body. So they're 10% off today at onlinepilatesclasses.com only, right? So when you flip the card over, this is where we get juicy stuff in the exercise. So we have the setup, which is like, how do you get into the exercise, okay? And you'll start to notice, like in the mat and reformer, the setups are part of the transition so that you are able to keep the flow going, which gets your heart rate up, which gets that cardio piece into it. It also makes it more advanced because you're taking less breaks. Obviously, when you're learning, you'll be taking a break to read what to do next. Then it has the action. This is what to do in the exercise, okay? And it tells you how many times to do it. And then this is the transition. So this is spine twist. So the transition would be to jackknife. And remember, when our order page, we actually have that here, so you would know that's coming. But it's telling you to go to jackknife, and it tells you how to get into that so you're ready to set up for the next exercise. Also, over here, we have the number of reps to do on each side. Then some safety tips to consider, and then substitution. So like if you're not ready for this exercise yet, what can you do? And this is really, really important, because at onlinepilatesclasses.com, which is where you get these flashcards for 10% off today, we believe it is brave and courageous to replace what you can't do yet with what you can. So if you're unable, you look at this picture and you're like, are you kidding? No way. Then what you're going to do is go, okay, well, what can I do? Well, under the substitutions, I could do saw or crisscross. So you can just go back to that card and repeat that exercise. Why? Because the exercises of Pilates are compounding. And you repeating saw or crisscross is going to build up your strength and stamina so that when you are able to do jackknife, you are not having to learn how to move with more time or relearn connections. You'll already have them because those exercises are setting you up for the spine twist. And then I have a quick tip. Okay, this one for spine twist is the more you can activate your legs, the taller you can sit. Twist from your waist, not from your arms. So those two tips are in there. Are like, if you're looking at this and you're like, are you kidding? I can't sit up with my legs straight. That would kill my back. Well, if you activate your legs, you'd be super surprised at how much you can actually get out of your hip flexors and into your abdominals. And then a lot of people tend to twist with their arms. And so spine twist needs to be twisted from the waist. And so it's really helpful, especially when you're trying to teach yourself, like, what do I do, right? How do I make this happen? If you're a teacher, it really lets you know what to focus on in this exercise, okay? So then you can go to the next exercise. And again, QR code, then it has a QR code, and then it has the setup action. And this one, this exercise I put in here because it's like a pre-Pilates exercise. I know a lot of people are new to Pilates, and I wanted to give some substitution exercises that you can do if you're not yet ready. So this particular one does not have a transition, but it is the substitute you would use for a lot of other exercises. So it really does help you create the strength and stamina for exercises you're replacing with. So you'll see on other cards that you can actually use this to help you with what you're doing. So you can keep going. Again, QR code, this is boomerang. You might be going, are you nuts? I can't do that. So remember, substitutions, open leg rocker, steel, or just practice lifting your legs to you. So I give you some tips so you can truly make this deck your own. And one of the things I tell people with the mat deck is this. When you get your mat deck, go through the cards, right? Go through the cards and like look at them and go, I think I could do that. No way I can't do that, right? And then separate them so you have two piles. And then the exercises you think you can do, start to work through those and notice what's possible in your body. And that's going to create your workout. And then you'll have your workout to do with the mat deck over and over and over. When it starts to get easier or you start to notice you have more time, you can go back to the cards you said, no way. And you could start to bring them in. And if you're like, well, how would I know? You can look at the substitutions and you can see, oh, it says substitute crisscross or saw. I'm really good at crisscross. Okay, I'll try this one next, because if you're really good at crisscross, you're probably good at that one, right? So that's the mat deck. Again, this is the deck. This is the first baby. This is the one I wanted everyone to have in their hands, in their studios, in their houses, in their purses, in their gym bags, in their suitcases, because it is the mat work that we can take with us wherever we go. 10% off today at onlinepilatesclasses.com. Only today until midnight. That's it. Do not ask me tomorrow. It won't be set up, so you can't do it, but 10% off. So the deck is normally $49.99, and so you can get it for 10% off today when you buy it through onlinepilatesclasses.com. Get these decks for your friends. Again, it's always hard to find gifts under $50, right? And so this is a great gift to give the person who has everything, who loves to move, because they can just take it wherever they go. I mean, like, it fits in any bag you have, all right? So then we have the Reformer deck, and the Reformer deck is going to be a little bit more robust. This has over 79 exercises in it, plus some bonuses. We also have workouts that you can try out to hit on the level that you have, because we want to make sure we gave people some suggestions on what to do, because I do not expect you to do all 79 exercises in one workout. I don't. I definitely do not. Depending on the day, depends on what I'm working on, I really get a lot of information from my footwork and my 100, and it lets me know, like, ooh, we're not going overhead today, or ooh, we're doing lots of extensions today. So it lets me kind of know what my workout's going to be. So you open the deck, and what's really cool in the Reformer deck is that we actually do have, again, another how to use this deck card right here. How to use this deck. And it explains information, because if your Reformer doesn't look like mine, I still wanted you to be able to use this deck. And I see people using this deck on all kinds of Reformers. It's quite amazing. It's really, 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 like, just so cool, right? So it tells you really how to use the deck, how to use the QR codes, but also how to consider setting up your Reformer so that you can feel these things the way that Joseph Pilates created them. So then there is, as I said, like, suggested workouts, right? So we have recommended workouts right here. And we put the numbers of the exercises that relate to the cards on the workout. So there's a beginner workout, there's an all levels workout, there's a super advanced workout. And then we actually, with the Reformer deck, decided to do something a little unique. We actually put color codes around the cards based on the type of exercise that it is. So if it's a prep exercise, it's going to be burgundy. If it's an advancement of an exercise, it's going to be blue. And if it's a super advanced exercise, it's going to be a purple, right? And then we have the list of the exercises, just like we did on the mat. And there's a lot. There's so many. It only looks like 37 card numbers, but actually like, because there's so many series, there are 79 cards in this deck. So it's really, really cool to look at all of those. And again, you don't have to use everything. So if you have questions, you can put them in the comments below. I want to make sure we're answering your questions. We can, you can just keep watching me talk, but also I love to answer your questions. It's a lot of fun. So comment below if you have the decks, if you want the decks, which deck do you want, what questions you have. We're here for a while to answer those for you. So then we have icons, because the Reformer has a headrest, it has a foot bar, it has springs, it has straps, it has a box. So like, how do you know what you need to use, right? So we have you covered, because we actually have on this icons that tell you if the headrest is up or down. We have icons about the foot bar being up or down. And then we have information about it being super advanced, because it's really important. Like, some people just want to advance so quickly in their practice, and I don't want you to do it too quickly, because I want you to build up your stamina and your connections. And then we also have this cute little icon that's a spring. How cute? Isn't that cute? Let me know in the comments. It's so cute. So it'll tell you what springs to use. And also, because I know everyone has different Reformers, it has the information on like how to think about what springs to use if you're, depending on the weight of your springs. All of my springs are the same weight. Yours might be weighted differently. And so instead of going these colors for these colors, because there's so many brands with different colors, I went with weight, like medium, light, heavy, so that you can really translate this to your own practice. And again, 10% off on this deck, which is normally $79.99. So you can save, is that $8, right? We never put these on sale. The last time the Reformer deck was on sale was when they came out, just almost 3 years ago. So this is the time to get it, because the decks, whenever we make them, we can only make so many at once, and we definitely want to make sure that we get you your deck when you order it. And so when you order it today, it's 10% off, and I really want you to have it. So save that money and get these, because how cool is this? Okay, so let's take an exercise. So again, we have the picture, we have the QR code, and then when you flip it over, you have the name of the exercise, and then this one, because it has a series, the little series name right there, to see knee stretches right there. So this is single leg knees off in the knee stretches series, which is really important, because sometimes Joseph Pilates didn't do a really good job of changing the names. There's a lot of tendon stretches, for example. So you want to make sure you're in the right series. So then when you look at it, you have setup, action, transition. All right. So it's letting you know how to get into the exercise, how to do the exercise, and then how to get ready for the next exercise. Why? So you don't have to keep stopping, looking at cards and starting again. You will in the beginning, but eventually you won't have to, right? And then on this side, you have your icons. So it says how many springs, 2, the headrest and foot bar are up. And then it says how many reps. It has a caution. So this is like a safety tip. Who is this for, right? It's really, really important to me, because you might not know who it's for. And depending on if you have never done a training before, a lot of people are buying their own Reformers. I think you're awesome. That's why I made this deck. Some people are studying. Sometimes their training school didn't tell them all of these things. So I like to make sure that people know that this is not ideal for some shoulder, neck, knee, or back issues. So how cool is that? Because you would know, like, oh, actually my client has that, or I have that. So you can avoid it. Then we have substitutions. So other exercises you can do in place of this one, again, just like on the mat, so that you can continue to build your stamina and your connections. And then a quick tip. So on this one, rhythm saves. And oh my God, does it ever? Because if you go too slow, it's like way not fun. All right. So, and then you can see this has a blue border, and that blue border is an advancement. So that's telling you, like, this card, this picture, this exercise is an advancement of another exercise. So I better know how to do that one before I do this one. So that was my way of thinking of this, because I really want to make sure it's super easy for people to use these cards. So again, ways to use these cards, and you can get 10% off today at onlinepilatesclasses.com. Ways to use these cards. So one, you can actually take some of the mat cards, some of the Reformer cards, and build a session, build a workout. Oh, I'm going to start on the mat and do these exercises. I'm going to go to the Reformer and do these exercises. Like, it's so cool, right? Something some people have done are get those, you know, those hanging wall hangs that have like the plastic pockets. If I'm an elder millennial, so they had them at my school, and they could put, like, you know, the color of how good you were that day in that little pocket pouch. You can put the cards in the pocket pouch based on like how you want the order of the workout to go, because you're not going to do all 79 of these at once until you're, you say it applies for a long time. It's been a long time. So you will pick some of these and then you'll take some of the mat. You can put them together to make a full session, a full workout. That's one thing you can do. Another thing you can do is literally go, okay, I want to build my class up, or I want to build up to tendon stretch. You can pull out the exercises that will help you do that, lay them all out, take a picture, boom, you've got the class plan, you got your session plan, you got your workout plan already done. You don't have to like flip through because you've like used a visualization of all the exercises in one place, which is super, super, super cool. The other way you can do it is you can literally go, okay, pick a card, draw a card, pick a card. And then you can just like a tarot, like what exercise are we working on today? And you can make it really fun. So it's like, oh, because sometimes we get in our habits and we, avoid some exercise we don't like. And we can easily like skip some things so long we never touch them. So this is really a fun way to make sure that you're doing your exercises, not avoiding the ones you don't like so much. So that's the Reformer deck. Again, $79.99 normally, but not today. Today it's 10% off, which is so exciting, right? Which is what I really want. I'm really excited. We saw so many people who bought all 4 decks because of this 10% off sale. I want that to be you. If you're like, no, I only want the mat deck, great, get it. It's 10% off. It's not happening again. So you may as well take me up on it, right? The other thing is like the Reformer deck, so great to gift your teacher, gift a friend who has access to one, gift one to someone who loves going to a Reformer class. Really, really awesome, awesome deck right here. And again, these two are kind of like, peanut butter and jelly. They really are. When you put these two together, like peanut butter and jelly, because the mat work is what Joe Supplies created first, which is why I made it my first deck. And there's some theory that the Cadillac came next, but the Reformer is where a lot of people need to work on their practice so that they can do the mat work. So that's awesome. Again, these decks, all of our decks, 10% off only at onlinepilatesclasses.com today till midnight Pacific. And today is March 2nd, 2024. All right. So now let's talk about the Cadillac, the beast. Boom. Look at how huge this is. It is 110 full color flashcards and bonuses. All right, so I told you at the beginning of this that we have a process for how we make these things because it is 400 plus human hours. We really do stop counting around 400 because it's just like, well, we're never in that investment of people's time back, but I'll tell you how many people touch these decks. So I write them on a spreadsheet. Okay, I fill out all the things for all those the action, the setup, the transition, the stage, I fill all that out. Then we have someone who actually puts them on a card. Now, before she can put them on the card, we have someone design the card. So that's person number 3. Before I work on anything, person number 4 is creating the sheet that I need to fill out. And then she is making sure everything gets done in a timely fashion so that it gets done on the card, gets done on the card in a designed way. And then we actually have someone else who is a contemporary Pilates instructor. And this is important. I want to share that with you because I'm a classical teacher. Now, that doesn't mean I am like, it's all classical, nothing else. No, I believe it's about why you teach, not what you teach. And also contemporary teachers, you teach a lot of the same exercises. So it's a really amazing tool for you as well. We have many, many, many contemporary teachers buy these flashcards to study for their tests, buy them to create their workouts. It's really, really useful. So I have a contemporary trained teacher read after me. So I write them, I read them, she reads them, and then we have someone on our team who does not have a regular Pilates practice. In fact, she's only done a couple mat classes, and she reads them so that if you are not trained as a teacher, these cards still work for you. Why? Because I know so many people are creating their home Pilates studios because it's more efficient. It's more effective. You don't have to wait for a studio, you don't have to wait for a wait list. It's really, really awesome. So let's dig into the Cadillac deck. So just like all the other ones, we actually have a how to use this deck. And then so it explains how to use the deck, and you can see like I started writing more because it's a bigger deck. So I'm really telling the history a little bit about the trapeze table, and then also that there are different versions of Cadillacs out there and Towers out there. So I wanted to make sure that you all are on the same page with me. So remember, a contemporary person who has a Tower went through this, so we actually could make sure that if you are using a Cadillac, right, you can do all of them. But if you're using a Tower, we put a little tab, and I'll show you in a second what that looks like on the cards. So if it's a white tee, it means it's Tower approved. If it's a yellow tee with an X over, it's not, which means it's really easy for you to like spread the cards out, and then like pull out all the yellow ones, which are, don't worry, this 10% off today, guys, at onlinepilatesclasses.com. It is not even 10% of the deck. Maybe it's barely 10% of the deck, but you'll be glad you have them, because if you ever end up a space where there is a Cadillac, you can pull those cards out and you can get nerdy and you can have some fun. All right. So we also have more things. So you are like, where do I attach the springs? Because if you put the spring on than what I've got, it does change the exercise. So I want us to all be on the same page. So do not worry. I actually talk about what type of springs you're going to use. There's a safety chain, so you can be nice and safe. And then there's a caution symbol. Okay, so Ryan, do the QR code videos have additional info? And do you have to buy a subscription for the videos? Ryan, this is a great question. Okay, the QR codes take you to a video that really just, they're obviously like gonna be 3 to 5 minutes long. It doesn't take 3 to 5 minutes to read a card. So it's not necessarily additional info, but it's like more times to view how the exercise is moving. So that if you're a visual learner, that's gonna make it really nice for you. You do not have to buy a subscription to view the videos. The videos are accessible for you. You're only paying for the deck. You don't have to buy a subscription for me of any kind. So yes, OPC has online classes. When you buy the deck, you don't have to. Brad is showing how the QR code works. And so you can see how you can view the video really easily. And then I kind of go into it. I think I also like, I give you more reps in the video versus on the card. I'm explaining 1 to 2 reps in the card because space, right? But it's really, really awesome. So we have safety caution because there are now, it's like things you got to worry about when you get to that Cadillac. So on the Cadillac / Tower deck, it's 10% off today, only today at onlinepilatesclasses.com. There are more things to think about. So now we're getting to the exercises where Joseph Pilates did not have an order, okay? So on the Cadillac and Tower, there's an order to some series, but not necessarily an order to the actual way you do it. You can actually get to pick and choose what you need on the Cadillac. So there is a setup, there's an action, but where there used to be the transition that the Mat and Reformer deck had on their cards, there is complementary exercises. And I did this so that you can actually start to think about how do you work your Tower Cadillac exercises together. So what's really fun is if you do that like tarot card way of using these, you can like draw a card and go, okay, I drew a card. All right, kneeling side bend is the card I drew. How do I prepare for kneeling side bend? Because you certainly don't want to start your workout with kneeling side bend. And it will say that you can do side sit-ups, side arms with a rollback bar, side arm with arm springs, side leg springs. All of those exercises will help you do this exercise better, right? So, sorry, it's like this and like this. You flip it like that. Super fun. All right, so we have complementary exercises. Obviously, there's caution. There's hook setting, so you make sure that you pick the right hook setting. And there's the card border again, just like on the Reformer deck. Again, you can be like Ryan and you can comment. You can tell me what things are cool. You can ask me what questions. You can ask me why we did it like that. Happy to answer because it's more fun for me if you comment. Okay. So when you look at that, then the other thing is, because I get a lot of people are like, okay, but Lesley, my Cadillac doesn't look like yours, or I have a Tower. How do I know I'm doing it right? So do not worry, do not fear. I actually put in the how to set up your Cadillac, there's literally a card that tells you what the hooks are, what the high hooks are, what the low hooks are, what the arm spring hooks are, what the leg spring hooks are, and what the stand arm spring hooks are. And it's measured so that if you have 100 hooks, you'll be able to take a measuring and go, doop, that's my arm spring hook. And so that way you can really, truly set yourself up in a way to get the most out of this deck. Okay, so I really, really love that card about it. So let's grab another one. So this one right here is a swan prep, okay? Swan prep with the push through bar. So you can look at that exercise and go, oh, I think I could probably do that. QR code takes you to the video. We have a setup, we have an action, we have complementary exercises. So that, oh, that's Gaia. She's back. Gotta love her. We love her. She's 14, guys. She's 14. The boys are obviously being amazing and leaving us alone. So has the complementary exercises. So swan, thigh stretch, chest expansion, spread eagle, so that you can really build your Cadillac practice up. So you're not just doing one thing. It says hooks, spring from above. So that way you know, okay, I'm using that spring. It tells you how many reps. You don't do too many. It also has the caution, not ideal for some lower back issues. Then it has this. Ready? Are you ready? This is what makes the Cadillac and the chair stack so cool. All right. Then it has related mat exercises, related reformer exercises. Boom, right there. Why is that important for me? Because I want you to see how this deck can help these practices and how these practices can help these exercises. Because you guys, it's not that we have the most amazing 500 plus exercises in Pilates. It's that we actually can work. We have one exercise we do 500 different ways. So it makes it really fun. And again, just till today, just until midnight Pacific time, 10% off these cards at onlinepilatesclass.com. I have a lot of people who are like, if I buy the whole deck, do I save money? And we've always said no, but not today. You can buy the whole bundle and save 10% off each deck, which is awesome. So pick and choose the deck that you want. So then we have, of course, my quick tip, because I always want to make sure you're thinking about the exercise from a way that connects you even more. Okay. So for this one, it's reach your legs down and away as your body lifts and lowers. Your goal is to find more extension in your upper back, not your lower back. So this way you're not like, oh, I have to be up as high as her, because I don't necessarily want you to look like me. You're going to look like you. I want you to get that extension in the upper back, right? So that's why those tips are really, really important, because they help you understand where to put your focus. All right. So that is our Cadillac deck. Again, most of them are Tower approved. There are some that require the canopy or require your push through bar to be a specific height. And so it's about, I want to say it's like 12 or 13 exercises that are not Tower approved. But again, over 110 ones. And you will often find yourself having access to a Cadillac. And I want you to be able to play around with them when you do. I don't want you to be like, oh, I don't know those exercises. I don't know how to utilize this. So I really want you to have that. Okay, let's talk about the beast of the chair stack. Woo! Okay, so if you have an exo chair, a high chair, combo chair, split pedal chair, this deck will still work for you. Because again, just like all the other decks, I have a how to use this deck. I have one, and it's really exciting. It lets you know how to set yourself up. So when you get into this deck, I will take one of the cards here. We have the exercise here. QR code takes you to the exercise. Then we have setup action. And because the chair has a lot of like symmetrical exercises and then asymmetrical exercises, it tells you how, like, what you can do if it's going well. So this one is, if it's going well, try the single leg, which is really cool. And then I have complementary exercises, but guess what? I put complementary exercises for the high chair, one to chair, and armchair. Because again, I want you to see how all these exercises work together. So you can see how you can utilize this chair deck in a really amazing way. Then we have spring settings, the reps, more cautions, related mat and reformer. I freaking love this. We're doing this with the barrels deck as well, which we're almost finished with that one. That one will go to print later this year. But we also have the mat and reformer related exercise. Why? Because it's not just about this. It's about how these go together. So if you don't have a reformer, get the mat and the chair deck. If you have a reformer and a chair, get the mat, chair, reformers deck. Why? Because they all go together. They all help each other out, okay? So I'm trying to find, maybe I can get my handy dandy buddy over here. Can you find me the how to use and the icons one and the workouts one? So when we put the chairs ones together, I have had people go, I just want the one to chair exercises only. And the truth is that I want the high chair in there and the armchair in there, because you can actually make your one to chair a high chair and with a few exercises. Obviously, it doesn't have the handles. There's Guy again, not an earthquake. We obviously have the handles. Don't have the handles, but you can actually still get the feedback. So I actually do have an exercise in this deck where I teach you how to make your high chair, so make your window chair a high chair. So that's really cool. Oh, wait, let's see. So this is how to set up your chair. So this card right here is how do you set up your chair, okay? So you do this, first of all, I talk about the different types of chairs, and then I have the names for each one, and then I talk about how to do the spring setting. Again, just like the Cadillac deck, just like all the other decks where we have 400 human hours, I made them, wrote them, read them. Then a contemporary teacher with non-classical equipment, she read them, okay? Then someone who's never been on a window chair, a high chair, or an armchair read them. Why? So that anyone can pick up this deck and figure out how to do these exercises for themselves. So we talk about what spring settings to use, how to make sure you're using the springs in the way that works, and then also for this one, because of safety, how to dismount on the chair, okay? Then we have a how to use this deck. Just like all the other decks, there's a how to use the deck, and that is important. Whether you get the mat deck, reformer deck, Cadillac Tower deck, or the chairs deck, there's always gonna be a card on how to use this deck. And these decks are 10% off today only till midnight Pacific time at onlinepilatesclasses.com. So comment if you have any questions, let me know. I'm here to answer them today. All right, so we have how to use it, really how to set yourself up for success. There's an icons deck, icons card. So it talks about it's a WC for a window chair, it's an HC for a high chair, and it's an AC for an armchair. So again, if you don't have an armchair, you can look for the red tab, pull those cards out. There's about 12 of them, and so that way you're not constantly shuffling them around. Then we have setup, action, complementary exercises, and remember, not just complementary for the window chair, but complementary for the high chair and armchair, really making it easy for you to create sessions and understand how to progress and connect your body to your practice. We have the spring settings. We have related mat and reformer exercises, because that's awesome. You want to know how the chair relates to your mat and reformer. We actually have those card borders, so those prep exercises, those advanced exercises, and the super advanced exercises. And then workouts. We made sure on the Cadillac deck, the reformer deck, and the chairs deck, there's a QR code that takes you to some suggested workouts on your window chair. So I didn't do it for the high chair and the armchair because I know not as many people have those, but I wanted to make sure that for those of you who do have a window chair, an exo chair, a split pedal chair, a combo chair, these workouts are for you. So there's a warm-up one, so it kind of like lets you know what exercise would just warm me up for my practice. There's a challenging ending for those of you who want to like have an amazing ending. There's a single spring, so like you have to change the springs around. And then there's a balance and balances workout. So those are going to be like making you work those asymmetries. I had fun making these workouts. I think they're brilliant. I think you'll love them a lot, okay? So these decks, all four, are 10% off today only at onlinepilatesclasses.com. And I have to just say, like, I really am the most proud of how these decks have turned out. They're not an easy feat. So after the person who's never done Pilates before reads them, I read them again just to make sure. So how that works is our printers who, do you want to know something crazy? Ready for something crazy? This box, this beautiful label on this box, they hand do it. They literally, by hand, like, they print out this beautiful box. It's a sticker kind of thing. They put this down on the table and then they go whoop with their hands and make these amazing corners. It's just so incredible to me. So they print me samples, not as cards, but as sheets. And I go through and I read the sheets, because now that they're made so that they're like on a card in physical form, I read them there because I want to make sure, does this make sense? Does spacing make sense? Like, does it have all the words that I could possibly have? Because sometimes I don't have enough space and I have to like make weird sentences. So we do that. Then I approve that. And then other people on our team start working with the printers to get the printing process made. The printing process takes 3 months. So once we hit print, it takes 3 months to get these babies made. Basically our little project gets in line with the printer. And then the printer guys run 24 hours. All the time, they're always printing. It's so crazy. And so it shoots it out, and then someone by hand puts them together in this box for you. It just blows my mind. So family-owned business here in the States, everything is made here, and then it ships all over the world. 10% off today, only today at onlinepilatesclasses.com. So which deck should you get? Okay. Well, first of all, it's going to basically depend on the equipment that you have or you want to have. Because they're on sale, I would get the ones that you want to have someday because then you're ready to go, right? So that's what I would say. But everyone should be getting the mat deck with whatever piece of equipment they get because you can do the mat work anywhere. So Australia, we have questions about international. I will say this. If you live in Australia, while Pilates Nerd Down Under is not going to have them on sale today, you will save so much on shipping. So Pilates Nerd Down Under is Australia. She also ships to New Zealand. But again, she is not honoring this sale. She didn't have to. We did this because we're so excited about being featured in Sports Illustrated magazine. And then for those of you, she's out of the Reformer. The chairs are coming soon. For those of you who live in Canada, B Pilates in Canada is the person who will ship them to you there. Again, she is not part of the sale today, but you'll save on shipping from here. So you may want to see which one you want to do. But if you live anywhere else in the world, we don't have resellers there yet. So what I want you to do is you can get them from us at onlinepilatesclasses.com and get 10% off, which will definitely take care of the shipping. Here's the deal. When you buy one deck, you pay a certain amount of shipping. When you buy 2 decks, it's not that much more. When you buy 3 decks, it's really not that much more. When you buy 4 decks, it's really not that much more because you already paid the base shipping rate, and we don't get to control those, unfortunately. Please trust me. I would if I could. So, so the mat deck, everyone, if you buy a Cadillac deck, you want to get the mat deck. If you buy the chairs deck, get the mat deck because the mat is something that every single one of these exercises in here is to help you do the mat work better. And the mat work is what Joe Supplies want all of us to do. And I said at the beginning of this live, it is March Madness. What does that mean? It means there's 31 days in the month and there's 34 exercises that Joe Supplies gave us at the time that he wrote his book, Return to Life. Over the time of his life, he added in some more exercises. My teacher taught me. And then one of his students added in a couple others. I put them all in here so you have access to them because they're amazing and they really do help set you up for exercises that are going to be more difficult. So in the mat deck, you actually have 40 flashcard exercises with the QR code that takes you to the exercise so you can visually see it. But if you don't have access to the internet, you don't need to see a video. You have all the information you need to exercise on the card. So I also promised you ways people would use these decks. So again, some people will lay them out like on a table to kind of create their workout. Some people will put cards at stations. So at the Reformer station, there'll be 10 cards. And at the mat station, you might put 15 cards. And at the One-to-Chair station, you might put 7 cards. And at the Cadillac station, Tower station, you might put 8 cards. Whatever you're putting. And then you can actually have people work out in a circuit. So they come up to the Reformer, they do their exercises, they move on to the next piece of equipment that's available. Makes it really fun for those of you who only have one piece of everything. So you're not like, oh, I have to have 2 Reformers to have 2 people in the studio. No, not true. It's not how Joe Supplies studio worked it out either. It's like really, really important to me that whether you're someone who's just a Pilates enthusiast and just wants to really nerd out on your own, you can truly do that and really put a work together. Also, because the cards have the complementary exercises on their same equipment for like the Cadillac and the chairs, but also the mat and Reformer related exercises. If you are finding yourself struggling with an exercise on the mat or Reformer, you can go to your Cadillac deck or your chairs deck and see where those are related exercises and then start to explore them on a piece of equipment where you can get some support. It's just really freaking cool. It's amazing. I'm so proud of them. I hope you can tell. I'm so proud of them because I really love seeing how people are using them. This month I have studios who are using the cards by just putting up the exercise of the day on a board, which makes it really fun. Again, some people like to use it as a tarot deck and they have their client draw a card and then they go, okay, that's the exercise we're building up to this time. Some people like to just build their workout and then they have it on a fun little board or those pocket pouch sheets that hang on a wall so that they can create a workout that works for them. And that's the point. If you want to shuffle them up and see what happens. You can do that. You know, it's like these are meant to really work for you. And I love that they are used by both classical and contemporary teachers and Pilates lovers alike all around this world. Really, really excited. They I got recently, we know people in Kuwait are using them. We have people in Europe using them, in Australia, and like Singapore, all over this world are using these decks, and it just really makes me so happy. So today is the last day to get, not today's the last day, today's the only day. These are the last few hours to get 10% off at onlinepilatesclasses.com. I have a question. Let's give me more questions, you guys. Okay. Oh, feature SI. Oh, and we're featured in Sports Illustrated. Congrats on the feature, Jennifer Voss. Thank you so much. Oh my gosh, this is crazy. Okay, so we have been trying since the day these cards got out to get people to feature them. You guys, it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not like you can pay to play. Like I'm sure there's some places you can do that, but most of them are like, actually, like we don't like that, or we like that, or that's not going to work. It's like kind of crazy. Watch The Devil Wears Prada. And you saw how she's like, that blue that you got on sale is because of us. Like you think you aren't choosing, we chose that for you. So when we are reaching out for gift guides to be in these fitness gift guides, our thing, while they loved it so much, just never fit what they thought was their gift guide. And so we finally, perseverance wins. We finally got someone to say, yeah, we want them in there. So Sports Illustrated, top 10 travel fitness things you need to have. The mat deck. Woo! Why? Because it's only $49.99. But today, like, look at the clock. What are we at? 9 hours, less than 9 hours. 10%. You have less than 9 hours, you get 10% off. Oh, it's on sale in Australia? A sale in Australia. Woo! Way to go! That's so fun. That's so fun. You guys, clearly I'm not from QVC trained. Brad is like drawing things and like circling behind me. I just had to say, like, Brad jokes that this is one of like the funniest offhand comments I've ever had. Like, we should make some flashcards. And like, because it's the most expensive thing we've ever done, because it's not easy to print a product. It requires so many people and so much time, more than a year for the first deck, because we just didn't have a process in place and we didn't have people to like help us out. And then the reformer deck was a little faster, but oh my goodness, printing takes forever. So that was just like, its own little thing. And then this one, 9 months for me just to write them. It took me longer to do this than these two combined in the writing. And then our printer's partner, they were such an ordeal. So it took even more months to get this printed than we wanted. Thank you to anyone who supported us on this deck print, because you guys were the most patient people in the whole world. And this one is the one we sell the most. We sell out of the Tower Cadillac deck all the time. So then this one, this is last year's print. Oh my goodness, so excited. So we have 4 decks. We will eventually have 5 decks, okay? We will eventually have 5 decks. But the 5th deck will not actually go on pre-sale until probably May. So you can get on the wait list for that if you want it. But you will have, if you were like, oh, I'll just buy these decks, Lesley, when you actually have the barrels deck out, here's the deal. You'll be paying full price for all of these. These won't be on sale. And you'll have to wait until the barrels deck ships, which means these will be sitting in a box waiting for the barrels deck to print, which takes 3 months minimum from pre-sale to when we do it. So not to talk you out of that pre-sale, I don't want to do that, but I don't want you to wait on getting all of these 10% off. So you want to just buy one, it's 10% off. You want to buy all 4, 10% off all of them. Buy them as a gift. If you have a friend who's going through a teacher training program, this is a great, amazing gift. If you have someone who just got a reformer from their neighbor's yard sale because the neighbor bought something, they didn't know how to use it, buy it for them. Like, just like, it means so much to me that more people are doing Pilates, because Pilates really is the thing that makes your life better. It takes everything that you already love and it makes you better at it. You want to be a better swimmer, better football player, all of that. So onlinepilatesclasses.com is where you're going to get these 10% off, only until midnight Pacific time tonight. Anything else, Brad?
Yeah, we have a special gift.
Oh, because we love you. In every deck, there's a because we love you card. There's a gift for you in each deck, which like that's fun. You will be surprised what that is.
Why don't you talk about the orders of the different decks and like, can you do it? Like, how did you figure out an order for the Cadillac insurance?
Okay, so there are no orders on the Cadillac and chairs. And the way I figured out I order for the Cadillac is like we went like station by station. So all the arm springs, then all the leg springs, all the push through bar from the top spring, all the push through bar bottom spring, all the stand arm springs, all the things with the canopy at the top. We really tried to like how can we make it really easy for you to like nerd out. Um, and then in the chairs, I really wanted to make sure we did everything that was like seated on top versus standing versus on the floor. So again, when you're going through these, you're not like changing your springs all of the time because you actually don't want to do that. In an ideal world, even though these things would have orders, you want to think about, okay, I want to take people from sitting to lying, from lying down to sitting to kneeling to standing. So when we put the deck together, I really wanted to make sure that the exercises were from lying down to sitting to kneeling to standing so that you can, in your own workout that you create with these cards or in the workouts you create for others, you can actually in standing up, which is where we all need to be. And if you look at the mat starts lying down and then you sit and then you kneel and then you stand up. And that's really the most important thing because you're going to take all of your Pilates work with you. So that is how the orders were put together for where there was no orders. But also, again, I put the complementary exercises on the same equipment plus the related mat and reformer exercises so that you can really, truly make the session work for you. And my favorite thing is I get tagged in people's workouts all the time. They're like, okay, here's the workout I made for today's advanced, blah, blah, blah. And I love that. I love celebrating people's workout plans with them because I get to see what other people are doing and I go, oh, wow, that's so creative. Like, that's so fun. I like how they put those things together. I like how they're warming people up. I like how they're challenging people there. And it's because, you know, your body is your body and everybody gets to do Pilates. So there's no such thing as a Pilates body. There is your body and you get to do Pilates. And when you have cards like this, you can really nerd out on like which exercises are right for me today. And then which exercise am I struggling with? You can look on the card and see what are those substitutions and really build your practice up. You can see what are those related exercises. Oh, I can do that one. And you can see how that's going to go. So I want you to go to onlinepilatesclasses.com and grab your decks before the time runs out on this amazing, amazing sale. First ever, first ever, first ever full sale on the into all of these. So I had someone go, I would love to just get the bundle. Can you give me a discount? And I said, no, this was like 2 months ago. And because we're so excited about being featured in Sports Illustrated magazine, we're doing it today. We're doing it today. 10% off for you today. Okay. Are there ways to easily tell which cards are easy or difficult? Thanks, Meredith. Yes, there are. Okay. So first of all, especially on the mat, the best way for you to figure out if it's easy or difficult is first of all, like if you look at them, if they're upside down, like this one, and you've never been upside down before, you can go, that's difficult. So I really say with people who buy in the mat, the best thing you can do is just like look at all the cards and just pull the ones that you're like, no way, can't do it. Pull the ones and go, oh, I think that's interesting. I want to try that out. That's going to help you, okay? Then when you look at the cards you can't do, it'll have substitutions. You'll know what you need to get better at to add those in, okay? On the reformer, because my team is so awesome, we have a little fancy color code, right? So the color code is prep exercises, that's in burgundy, advancement exercises, that's in blue, and super advanced exercises in purple. So if it has, you know, one of those colors on the border, here's one right here that has a purple, right? That means it is going to be an advancement. it is a super advanced exercise. So if it's a super advanced exercise and you feel new, you are 100% going to put that over. You can actually, before you put it over, you can look at the substitutions and go, oh, okay, the substitutions be footwork, chest expansion, knee stretches. So you can get really, really, really good at substituting your exercises for this to build up your strength in your practice, right? This one is a blue one. So this is an advancement. We talked about this earlier in the live. When it's blue, it's an advancement. It's advancement of, so this is single leg knees off. It's an advancement of knees off. And so you would know you can add this in when knees off start to feel more possible. They'll never feel easy. Nothing in Pilates will ever feel easy, right? So that's how you can do it on all of the decks, for the Reformer, the Cadillac, and the chairs. They all have those same exact colors, so you don't actually have to remember new colors per deck, because that would be weird and annoying. Thank you for shopping, Kareen, Kristen, Vanessa, a Lesley, and a Michelle. That's amazing. That's my whole name, Lesley Michelle, but that person's an IE, and that person's the E at the middle, at the end of the middle. So you guys are awesome. It's so fun. It's like, I really like can't believe that, one day I had this random comment that we should create flashcards. Here's how it came up. Somebody was like, can you create a manual? And I said, no way, because you don't learn Pilates like out of a book. You actually have to learn Pilates by doing it. So I was like, well, how can people have things with them, right? How can they like nerd out? And I was like percolating on like the nerding out. And here's the deal. We had index cards on the table because Brad and I were taking Kamai lessons. And I was looking at them and I was like, oh, that's so funny. We have flashcards. And I was like, oh, we can create flashcards. And then I was like thinking about how tarot decks are made and like how cool tarot decks are. So it's like, I'm making my own Pilates tarot deck is really what I'm doing. And so it was just really funny. And I didn't really know if I could ever, like, when we created this first one, I was like, how is this ever going to get printed? How do we ever need a place where I would do the rest of the decks? But I'm just so freaking grateful for how amazing the team is that I have that makes this happen. And for each and every single one of you who has bought decks. If you looked at my Instagram stories today, you saw like people like juggling the four, like they're juggling and they're smiling and they're so excited. And the reason is because they're like candy. It's like Pilates candy. And it's something that doesn't exist in this world. Like just fun, joyful ways of nerding out. If you are a Pilates teacher, your manual is like this big and you're lugging it around. And I was like, how can we make it easier for you to take things with you? Also, I see so many people spending so many hours class planning, session planning. When you have these cards, it's so easy for you to literally lay them out and like take a picture and go, boom, that's Noreen's, that's her workout for the day. Okay, that's my intermediate reformer class day. Oh, that's this person. It really makes it fun. You do not get bored. You do not get like, oh, I just keep doing the same thing all the time. It's really cool how it really lets you get creative and start to go back to exercises you probably haven't done before. And if you don't teach Pilates, but you have access to equipment or the mat, these cards are for you. Please don't forget, I was very intentional. When I made these cards, I wrote them, read them, a contemporary teacher read them, a non-Pilates practitioner read them. Why? Because I wanted anyone, someday, they will not only be featured in Sports Illustrated, but someday they'll be in stores, in bookstores, and in gift shops around this world. It's a dream of mine. So the more of you who take me up on this 10% off today, onlinepilatesclasses.com, the better that dream's going to happen. But I wanted people to go, oh, I've been wanting to do Pilates, and buy them and be able to do it. Because the reality is Joseph Pilates gave us the most amazing, amazing, amazing practice there is. He gave us this opportunity to have a practice we could take with us wherever we go, a full body workout that we can do wherever we are, whenever we want. And that's what the mat work really is. And these babies are like the icing on the cake. And so buy the ones that you have access to. But please, 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 if you buy a chairs deck, grab a mat. If you buy the Cadillac Tower deck, grab a mat. If you buy the Reformer, grab a mat. Because this is what we're all trying to get to. It's the mat work. The mat work is what is the best challenge for all of us. Longevity in this life, you guys, does not come from just like running all the time and sleep. It also comes from having balance, flexibility, and strength. From being able to stand up, to sit on the floor, to stand back up again. And guess when you do that? in this mat work. In the mat work, there's literally exercises to help you get off the ground without using your hands. And that there are scientific studies that help you live a longer life if you can do that. If you are brand new to Pilates, that's a great question. Thank you guys. I love the questions. Keep them coming. If you're brand new to Pilates, you should get the mat deck. This is the one, okay? And you know what? Grab one for your friend while you're at it because it's 10% off. Today only at onlinepilatesclasses.com. You should get the mat deck because this is one you're probably going to have access to on the equipment. Unless someone gifted you a reformer, or again, some people happen upon a reformer all the time. My in-laws happen upon a reformer. It's in their living room right now. And so we gifted them a reformer deck and we pulled out the exercises that were right for them. So you can do that, but these other pieces really are going to depend on what you have access to. Which is the mat is, which is the one you can get for your beginner. If it's the most popular, I think it's the Cadillac, but is it the reformer? Oh, my team is telling me, Lesley, the reformer is the one we sell all the time. So the reformer is, but here is the deal. My reformer lovers who keep buying this reformer, shame on you. Get the mat deck too. What are you doing? The only reason we have the reformer is so we can do the mat work. That is the point of the reformer. So you should own the mat deck because so many people, like the mat is hard. Yes, it is hard. It is. It's really hard to hold your own body up all of the time. But my goodness, that's how life is. You don't get to have springs and straps that take you around your life. So you need to be able to hold yourself up. You know what I love? I love last year, Brad and I got to hike a 12-mile hike, 6 miles straight up a mountain, 6 miles down. And do you want to know something? The only thing tired on my body the next day was my calves. My hips didn't hurt. My hip flexors didn't hurt. My lower back didn't hurt. My shoulders, my neck, nothing hurt. My calves were a little taxed. I'm going to be really honest. But my butt felt great. Oh, I fell. Well, I did fall, but you know what? I fall better because of Pilates, because I literally like slid down, did like a single straight leg stretch all the way down, caught myself. It was amazing because of Pilates. Pilates helps you fall better. So reformer deck is most popular, but y'all should be getting the mat deck when you get the reformer deck because how cute are those together? So cute. You should have them together.
How does it help you save time in class planning?
Okay, so how does it help you save time in class planning? So first of all, many of you are often, because you're just remembering what you know, you're often like recycling some of the same stuff, but you're writing these things out at home or like before you're coming to work early and you're writing them out and then you have written words. Well, guess what? I'm left-handed, so I can't read my own writing. But also when you're teaching, you can't just like, oh, where am I at in this class, right? So what you do is you'll take the cards, whatever deck you want, and you'll take the exercises and you'll put them, Brad's going to help me. So you would put them down. I'm just picking random ones, so don't think that this is a workout that anyone should be doing. But you put them out and you can literally take a picture of what you put out. Oh, why?
Because you can read it.
Oh, no, you don't do that. That's not how you class plan. You class plan by the pictures. Yeah, so so you class plan by the pictures, and then you can take a photo with your phone, and then you can just have it. You can like, oh, we're over here at the side leg splits now. Let's do this. So that's how it can really help you. It can also help you with session planning because maybe you have Debbie coming in, and so Debbie's mat workout is going to be this as her warm up, right? And then you're going to take her to the reformer, and you're going to do. Again, we're making these up because you probably wouldn't do a headstand at all, but like that's what's coming up. This is how a tarot Pilates session gets planned, right? So then you would put this out and then you could literally plan that out. And what you can also do is like, okay, if this week we do this workout, then next week we're going to add this exercise in and this exercise in. So you can actually start to build someone's practice up and start to build them up to doing the full deck because they're going to get faster at these. And how do you know you're ready to add in more exercises? When you have more time. So if you took 5 cards as your workout and the first day it took you 5 minutes, the second day it took you 5 minutes, the third day it took you 4.5, and then 4. And it's like, oh, you're finishing sooner. Okay, then instead of adding more time, you could add in more exercises. Isn't that cool? You don't have to have more time to work out. So these are amazing, fabulous, incredible decks. We have 4 out for you. They are 10% off. This is it. Last 8 hours. Oh, Brad wants to show you something. And then we'll have to wrap this up. So the question is, if you have equipment at home and your husband asks you to teach him, what do you do instead? I don't teach my husband. You should never teach your husband. No one should. And that goes for husbands teaching their wives. It's not fun. It's not sexy. So what I did was I took the cards, and Brad has his own workout. I'm going to lay it out for you because it's going to be really cool. So this is his warm-up. He does footwork, right? So he has all of his footworks. Then he has his 100, and then he has his coordination, and then he has his rowing. That's what he does. And then he has his pull straps, right? And then he gets to do his long stretch and his down stretch and his elephant. And then he has his stomach massage. You can see this is the workout that I put together for him based on what his needs are. Then he has more stomach massage. Then he has his short box, right? So look at this. This is his workout. Took me a few minutes to put it together based on his goals and his needs. Then he gets to wrap up with some running and some pelvic lift. And then boom, because I know where he needs strength, he goes to the Cadillac and he does his chest expansion, his thigh stretch, because his hip flexors are so tight. And then he hangs. And so now he has a workout that he does, and I hear him go in there several times a week, and I hear him doing his footwork, and I know he's got his deck out, and he lays it out. He literally lays it out, and then he goes up, he does some footwork, and then he gets up, he flips those cards over. He does the next few, he gets up, he flips those cards over. So he's learning how to flow into transition, and he's teaching himself his work. And the thing that's so important is when Joseph Pilates taught you, he didn't overcorrect and overcue you. He would literally teach you the moves, and then you would learn to be in your body. You would actually listen to things in your body. Oh, that's really hard. Oh, that feels really weird. And that's where you actually can learn, okay, what other exercises should Brad be getting? And so he's getting close to the point we have to add more cards in, because how do we know? This should take him about 30 minutes. And when he starts to finish it in faster time, it means he's not getting up to look at his cards as much. He's remembering how to flow. And so I can add in more exercises, not necessarily more time. And that's really, really important to me, because Pilates shouldn't take you hours to do every day. I know you're really busy, and that's not very fun, right? You don't do things if you're like, oh my God, it's going to take me forever to do them. So that is how you use the cards to create sessions for people to save time, to like truly get people excited about Pilates, get yourself excited about Pilates. So you're going to go to onlinepilatesclasses.com. You're going to grab these decks before the 10% off sale ends tonight, March 2nd, 2024, midnight Pacific time. Do not call me tomorrow and be sad, because I was live here for a really long time to give you as much notice, as much time to shop, and I can't wait to see you get. And those of you who already purchased, you are amazing. You're amazing. You're amazing. Tell your friends about it so you can snag the sale. 10% off at onlinepilatesclasses.com. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.